Good morning. Today I'm going to be working on the emergency brake system on this 57 Chevy of mine. I've had this thing for 25 years. This is the emergency brake lever. The pivot rod here had snapped off, so did a little bit of cleanup on it, welded it back on, and it mounts down here in these brackets. Its long side goes down, short side goes up. It fits in this hole. There's a second hole over here on this side that holds it straight, nice and straight and true. So it goes through that hole. And then there is a spring and a cotter pin that fits through a little hole right here. And then this is the emergency brake handle rod. There's a pin that goes through there with a cotter pin, nice and easy. And then that hooks to the emergency brake handle here with another cotter pin right up here. This is the we just saw this go through. Goes up here, down underneath the truck. We've got the emergency brake cables coming out of the back of the axle, coming up to this splitter. When the cable from the front pulls tight, this slides forward, pulling tension on these guys. This is a spring to retain tension on the whole thing. The cable goes up. It's got a little wheel right here, which doesn't really line up with anything. It goes through the frame to this piece, which hooks on the bottom of that lever that we just installed. And the lever we installed is right up here by the steering box and goes down just above the frame. So I'm going to pop that all together and adjust it. So after taking a look at this wheel here, probably the reason that my lever broke down here is this wheel. The cable should go around this side instead of the way the last owner ran it through the wrong side of the wheel. By putting it through the wheel, it'll tighten us up and it'll align the cable better to go through this hole in the frame, get it behind the spring retainer for the regular brakes. So I'm going to take these two funky electrical cable ties off, reroute the cable around the back of the wheel, which should make this function a lot better. And everything else works pretty good here. So, I mean, all the cables are pulling tight and the brakes have all been redone, so this ought to work pretty good. Now I've got this assembly all back together and adjusted up. The rods are all hooked together, pinned together. You want to have the smooth side of your dowels that hold this together, and the cotter pin side on an area where you're not gonna, when you're later working on your car, not gonna get in there and snag your hands and cut yourself on the cotter pins. This cotter pin and the spring down here hold the rod over nice and tight into the pivot hole and the stabilizing hole for the rod. So this stuff works real good. Everything's hooked up down underneath. I'll probably unhook this and get me a new one of these seals. You can get them on eBay for about $5. It's just a little felt and oil seal. Keep some of that engine smell out of the cab. That's easy to pull off and fix up. And in here, we're all hooked up. So you can pull your emergency brake and get your tension on it and you're good to go. It's got a little handle over here, squeeze and release. Back up and running.